Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to, where did my logo go? Porchlight Newsletter, Porchlight Letters podcast number 2197. How we hold on. And, there it is. Why is that not showing? Show. There we go. Why they disappeared, I do not know. There we go. Now I feel better. My logo's back up there in the corner. Yes, we're good. Oh, dang. No, we're not. I've lost my... There it is. Okay. It's been a tough day. My day started at yesterday ended at 1:30 this morning. Yes. Last night I was... So my eyes are a little blurry right now. Just put some drops in them. Let's see. Last night I ended yesterday at 1:30 this morning. I was up trying to get the Porchlight Reflection Journals volumes uploaded. It took a bit because for whatever reason, notice how these have these pretty gray borders. For whatever reason, this time Amazon did not like them for whatever reason. And all I was doing was using the templates we had in here and changing out the prompts and changing the cover. That was it. But for whatever reason, Amazon wouldn't let us approve the proof with the gray background on there. I was like, really? Okay. So we had to go through and remove all the gray borders, but we finally got that done. I got the first 2 volumes uploaded to Amazon at before 1:30 this morning. And as soon as I got the second one uploaded, I was like, I'm going to bed. And it was 1:30 when I crawled into bed this morning. I was up at 5. I thought, right, now let's knock out the rest of these journals, get them all uploaded. Got volume 3 uploaded. No problems at all. And I went to upload volume 4 and it goes, you have reached your limit for the day. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, apparently with things like journals, you're only allowed to upload up to 3 a day. So I'm like, okay. So volumes 1 and 3 have been uploaded and are under review. Tomorrow morning, we'll get up early and we'll put up 4, 5, and 6. And then that's Thursday. Friday, we'll put up 7, 8, and 9. Saturday, we'll put up 10, 11, 12. And on Sunday, we'll put up 13, 14. And this week's one, which is 15, will go up on Sunday morning. And they wouldn't let me make a series page. I tried to make a series page where you go to that page and there's all the volumes listed there. And they were like, no, because you are low content. These are low content books because they're ones where you write your stuff in there to fill it up. Because these are low content, you cannot have a series page. And I was like, well, to you. So we are going to have a series page, just not on Amazon. Yes, so I'm currently working out how to do this. And we're going to have, you'll be able to buy the volumes on Etsy. We're going to have a series page there, and you'll actually be able to make your own bundles. So you can go in there and go, you have the option of buying preset bundles, which will be volumes 1 through 5, 6 through 10, and so forth. And they'll be based on how many you purchase as to what discount you get and all of that. We'll also have on Etsy to the create your own bundle. So if you want to, if there's certain topics that you want, you'll be able to put them into your own bundle. And then we're going to have a retreat bundle as well, which is where if you wish to have a retreat on one of the weeks, on one of the topics with one thing, you'll be able to buy your discount for buying X number of 1 week. If you're going to do something like a retreat. So if you're going to do like a retreat on grief and you want to use the grief journal, then you can buy as many of the week of volume 15, which is this current week. You'll be able to purchase that that number of journals that you need for a retreat. And we're also creating a coach/leadership guide on how to use these journals in a retreat as well. So lots of stuff happening. So we're going to have that on Etsy. Not all of it's going to be on Etsy. Some of it's going to be on Etsy, and some of it we're going to have through a different method. But you'll be able to order the printed versions, and we'll have them printed and shipped to you, directly to you. So the journals are on their way and the upload, and they will be they're slowly being uploaded to Amazon, but we're also going to create, we already have the Etsy stores, we're going to upload them there, and we're also going to have a landing page for you to be able to go to there as well. Why I got into all of that, I have absolutely no clue. It is not in my notes at all. This is just one of these things that just come along and you go, okay, let's talk about this. Need some more water. Sorry. I have very blurry eyes. I've already had like 3 naps today. So I guess who's going to try and get an early night tonight. But my eyes are sort of like not focusing very well. So I'm just like, okay, I got to read my notes. So thankfully, I have them typed on a screen so I can actually make them bigger so I can read the words instead of seeing these black blobs, blurry blobs on the screen. So tonight we're talking about, this is episode 4 of volume 15, The Shape of Grief. This is episode 4, which is how we hold on. Grief changes shape, but it doesn't disappear. Some days it's a soft whisper. Other days it's a weight in your chest. It's a physical weight. We don't get over it. We learn how to carry it and how to hold on without being held back. It teaches us that holding on doesn't always mean refusing to let go. It's often about treasuring what remains. Grief softens with time, but the bond with who or what we've lost stays strong. I will have to tell you, it's been almost 8, next month it'll be 8 years since Brad passed. And there are days it feels like yesterday. There are days there is a physical weight on my chest. I feel like there's days where I feel like something's pressing against my chest. I can't take deep breaths. I have to take shallow breaths. And then all of a sudden a flash memory will go through my mind, a memory of him, and I realize what that pressing is. It's him just saying, I'm here, you're okay. So sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's both. There is no right way to remember. There is absolutely no right way. There's no right way to grieve. There is no right way to remember. Memory lives in how we speak their name, live our lives, and honor what mattered. You can hold on with your heart even if your hands are empty. What happens when you find comfort in daily rituals that remind you of them? You carry their advice into your decisions. You laugh at a memory that once made you cry. You build something new from the foundation of what you have lost. And that's one thing that Brad always made me promise him was, even up to the day before he passed, he was making me promise that I will keep moving forward. And I do. Some days I have to crawl. Some days I'm on my, you're laying on the floor and just feeling like you can't move, and you roll over onto your stomach and you just start inching forward. You find a way to move forward. You find that strength. As we said, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's a combination of both. And how we carry forward is we share stories out loud. They keep that connection alive. This is why it's so important. This is why I talk about this often, about telling your story. You tell your story. You have it written down. You have it recorded so that future generations can keep your memories alive by sharing the stories that you have shared with them, whether it's on video, whether it's an audio, whether it is a physical. There are, I'm actually looking into a couple of places where you sign up, where you can actually do it as a gift. So you have the person sign up for a year. They get sent a question every week. They reply to that question. They can include photographs with their answers. They send them back. At the end of the year, the place then prints it as a physical hardback book, including the photographs that pertain to the chapters and every week is a chapter. Every question becomes a chapter, and this is part of their story, which I think is absolutely wonderful. So I'm researching that and talking with the people more so I can understand more about it, and we'll end up getting them on here as a guest because I think it is such an important thing is to tell your story. And I tell those that are having family reunions or having the grandkids over, tell stories, record those stories. Make sure you record your time with them to capture, find a way to capture that memory, that event. If you're out having a meal together, maybe do something with the video camera of asking each person that was there a question and recording their reaction. And then my favorite one, though, is like at family reunions, go around recording people's stories, record the stories. Make sure you take lots of pictures that are there. Have sharing circles where people sit down and just share memories and somebody's there to record it and capture it. Then at the end of the year, you take all those materials at the end of the reunion, you take everything together, all those recordings, all the photographs, all the videos, and you create a book. And this becomes you become known for this thing that every year at Christmas, every family is going to get a copy of the book from the reunion. And in there will be the stories that were shared, maybe typed out. If you want to hear them, you scan the QR code, which goes to a private YouTube channel where they can listen to that recording, whether it's audio, and you might have some photographs going up back with, some photographs of that person as they're talking, where you can just hear their voice, or it might be a video of them. Okay, hang on. I just got to sit from because this is not a Zeffy smell. Okay, so I have a really, really hard time when there is like newspapers around. The smell of newspapers makes it difficult for me to breathe, and I am smelling newspapers, but I don't have newspapers in my house. I don't have them. So I'm not sure where that smell is coming from or who is producing the smell of newspapers, because yeah, that was weird. It's just this big smell of newspapers, of fresh newspapers. I find it very hard to breathe in that sort of thing. My mum's dad used to read newspapers a lot. Used to do that story's for another day on how we used to do crosswords and that. But with these books, you have it so you have the QR codes in there that they can scan and go to that video or that audio. And on the audio only ones, you can have still pictures of that person that you might have from through their life and stuff, or about the story that they're telling, that just move along with the thing, so they have something visual to look at, or they can just sit there and listen to it. So and then you've got all the family photographs in there. And then in the book, you have the hatch, match, and dispatch pages, who was born since the last family reunion, who got married since the last family reunion or engaged, and who passed since the last family reunion. So you have their information in there. And you can include the divorces as well, since they are part of the family story. But anyway, so that's one way that you can help carry things forward. And these stories are then stored into these books, which are then passed on into generations and things, into generations. And every time you have a reunion, they all know that if you're the person that starts this and does that you're going to be recording stuff there. And people will help, because you ask them to send you videos and photographs from the event as well. So you not only have the ones that you take, but you have the ones that other people take as well. You may have digital recorders rather than phones that are used at the these little digital recorders that you can use when you're doing rather than putting somebody on video and going, "Oh, can you tell me that story again?" You can just quietly hold this in your hand. Then it has a microphone on it. Some of these, I don't know. Oh yeah, this one has an outlet here to add on an external microphone. So you can have an external microphone going to them that they can hold as they tell the story. And so you're getting the clear recording and all of that sort of stuff. There's different ways that you can do that, and you can recruit other people in the family, or other people in the family may volunteer to do that and then send you the information afterwards. So keep those in mind when you come to doing sharing stories. This is a way that you can keep everybody's connection alive, whether they are with us or they have passed. It helps keep the memories fresh for everybody. You can celebrate their influence in your choices, your kindness, your spark. If you want to celebrate their influence, think about, what would Brad do in this situation? There's times I go, all right, I've got to do X, Y, Z. What would Brad do in this situation? If I walked into the family room and I sat down on the couch and said, Brad, I've got an idea. What would he say about that idea? Yeah, that's my hardest one. That is my hardest one, because I used to walk into the family room, plop down on the couch and go, I've had an idea. And you see the look on Brad's face was like, oh crap, here she goes again. You just see it. It was there on his face. But you can think about think about your choices and what would they say about those choices? What would they have if, with this, you go, I've got, and even if you talk, and there are times I will sit down and I will talk it out loud anyway. And then I just sit there quietly and go, what would Brad say about this? Would he say, go for it? Or would he say, let's have a look and investigate this a little more? Me, I'd be ready to go for it. He would want more details. And in which case I would sit there and I would start talking through the details as well. And because things like ChatGPT, you can do voice recordings with them. I've often turned on the microphone on the ChatGPT app on my phone and put my idea into there, and of course it types it all up, and then you hit the button and it responds to what your thoughts and all of that sort of things are. And I won't look at it straight away. I might just sit there and go through it. I think about the kindness that he had for others. I think about his spark. So I think about ways that I can incorporate his spirit in what I am doing. Create space for both grief and gratitude. Yes, you are missing that person or that pet like crazy. I keep waiting for Zeffie to walk into the room or jump up onto the, when I'm in bed, I'm waiting for her. I keep listening for her to jump up onto the bed. When I go to bed, I would sometimes hear her go, like she used to do when she was settling in, because that's what I would do. Before I go to sleep, I take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, and then as I go out through the mouth, it is with sound. So it's like, and as that sound goes through my body, I can feel it relaxing into the mattress. And Zeffie would do the same thing, but she'd just do it as a big sigh. It would come out as that. And then I knew that she was settled in for the evening. So I was doing it, so she started doing it. What can I say? But so you've got to create a space for both grief and gratitude. Yes, I miss that dog like crazy. Did she used to drive me crazy at times? Absolutely. But I am so grateful for every moment that we got to spend together over 2,080 days. That's how long she was in my life. From the day that I adopted her to the day she passed was 2,080 days. And I am grateful for every single moment of those days. Also, let your memory shape how you move forward, whether you move at all. The recommendation is you keep moving forward, even if it is half a step, even if it's a shuffle, even if it's a crawl, even if you're on your belly struggling to move forward in some way. It may not feel like you're moving, but sometimes that little half step may not feel like you're moving at all. But as long as you keep that forward momentum going, it can help a lot to keep moving forward. You may not want to do it, but do it anyway. Last week we were talking about showing up. And I remember Monday night, I admitted I really didn't want to be on the live. I did not want to do my podcast on Monday last week. It was the day after Zeffie had passed. I did Sunday night's one just so I could talk about Zeffie. And I did the RIP Zeffie episode. But Monday, that first episode was all about showing up. The very first episode of our Keep Showing Up week. And that Monday night, I did not want to be here at all. But I had a commitment that I was going to be here every single day. And then Thursday last week on July 31st, so that was July 28th, 3 days later on July 31st, we're celebrating 2,191 days, 6 years of consistent showing up every single day. And so how does the memory of Zeffie, of Brad, of Gus, how do they shape and help keep me moving forward? In the fact that Brad made me promise I would keep moving forward no matter what. I would keep moving forward. In the showing up, it was hard to show up online. It was hard. It still is hard to show up each day without Zeffy, without looking, because, I see her recliner right there. And to look there and not see her head on that armrest, it still gets me. Her bed was laying down here, and you could see that, and you used to be able to see the edge of it. It's been moved out of the room now. And then she had her mat behind me, and I would quite often turn around to check on her. And I know that, she's still there. She's there in spirit. She's just not there physically. And that's the hard part. I've got to keep going. She was here for 2,080 of those days that we have done. We're on day 2,197, and she was with us for 2,080 of them. It feels really weird to not see her head on that armrest right there. It's really weird not to look down and see her bed with her laying in it, or on the mats on the floor behind me. The mats are no longer there. It's just weird. Will I get used to it? Maybe. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's going to take time. And those that turn around and say, oh, you'll get over, it's time for you to get over it. There are some really nasty words I would like to say to people who tell me to do that. It's been 8 years since Brad passed. Get over it. No. Grief doesn't work that way. Grief does not have a timeline. Grief has its own clock that will set to whatever day, week, month, or whatever it wants to, and it will show up when it wants to, out of the blue. It could be something as simple as you're walking through the supermarket and you hear their favorite song come over the speakers, and boom, you're right back there in that moment with them. It's like, I haven't turned on any of the music on one of those on the YouTube channel for dogs with the no ads that play the music for those that have separation anxiety, stress, all of that sort of stuff. It was very relaxing for humans as well. I have not been able to turn that on, and it could be a while. There are even, I will tell you how far this goes, there are even some actors and actresses or singers who I have followed over the years and really enjoyed their talent, who have since passed, and I have not watched one movie or listened to one song that they have sung since they passed. That is part of my grieving process with actors and singers who have passed over the years. Some of them, it has taken a long time before I've been able to sit down and watch something that they've been in. I will tell you that is hard to do. To watch James Bond now, Sean Connery's gone. Roger Moore has gone. I guess that's why last November I had so much difficulty watching James Bond in November last year, because November's my month for watching James Bond. And I struggled to watch the movies in that month. And and just talking now, I suddenly realize why it is. It's because Sean Connery is no longer with us. Roger Moore is no longer with us. And I was like, dang. That's why I struggled to watch those movies, was because those actors are no longer with us. And sometimes I just put a movie on without thinking about who's in it, and I get partway through and I go, I can't watch this anymore. Or I'll just sit there and start crying. But, that's how deep grief can hit you. So for our legacy, we hold on in the quiet moments, and the choices that we make, in the way we love, even in their absence. That's legacy, not just what they left behind, but what we carry forward. Your reflection questions for this evening. We've got 4 for you there in the description below. You can write them in here. Or if you wait until someday next week, because I don't know how long it's going to take. Amazon usually they say it takes 72 hours to approve once you get the journals uploaded. So if I upload them on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it'll probably be like Wednesday before you'll be able to order the volume 15 journal. But I will let you guys know as soon as they go live. But the reflection questions for tonight: what helps you feel most connected to someone you've lost? For me, it is there's certain shirts of Brad I cannot throw out, that I will put on to feel close to him. I still have his USC, University of Southern California. I still have his hoodies that I will put on and just snuggle into. And I've got his t-shirt, his Superman t-shirt, which is my absolute favorite t-shirt, that I actually put on the day he passed. I'd been sleeping with it, and it was getting to the point where I needed him to wear it again. Yeah, that didn't happen. It could be watching on Brad's birthday, on the day he passed, on our wedding anniversary. There are certain movies that I will watch in their honor. On our wedding anniversary, we watched Legally Blonde. I will tell you this, Brad watched that movie way more times than I did. I kid you not. Legally Blonde, great chick flick and everything else, but Brad has watched that movie more times than I have. And he was the first to notice after we had watched it bunches of times. He would be sitting there with the remote in his hand, scrolling through the guide that was on the screen, and he would see Legally Blonde, and he would stop. He would hit play. He would hit the button on that one to select that channel. It didn't matter if it was 5 minutes from the end, if it was halfway through, if it was about to start. It did not matter. If he saw Legally Blonde, he hit the button to select that channel, and he would watch it from whatever point onwards. And it was during one of those viewings of his that he did. I was sitting on my recliner next to him reading. I thought, because oftentimes he'd sit there and roll through channels and stuff, and I'd sit there and read and, do my thing. And all of a sudden I hear him go, "That's where we got married." And I'd be like, "What?" And he would wind back the movie to the point, and he would go in there, and sure enough, there is Al and Warner. The table that they are sitting at is on the spot in Il Cielo restaurant in Beverly Hills where Brad and I got married in 1998. Their table is on the spot where we stood to get married. And I actually have pictures of us standing there on the spot doing family photographs and all of that sort of stuff too. So, but yeah, so that was a really cool one. So it became a very special, and it was already a really cool movie anyway. It became super special after that. And now I watch it on our wedding anniversary every year. I will choose either Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy, the Star Wars original 3 movies, the Star Wars, the second lot of 3 movies that came out, which are before the first 3. I will watch one of those trilogies because that was what he loved. He loved his Star Wars movies. He loved the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Absolutely loved those. He went to New Zealand for his first trip to New Zealand in 2002. And we took her, and most of the places that we went are in the movies somewhere. And in the second movie, I'm sitting there going, "You've been there, you've seen that." And so he was able to, so he got to see some. We didn't get to go to Hobbiton, I got to go to Hobbiton years later, in 2015. But he didn't get to come with me because I was on a famille trip with one of the vendors that I use, so he couldn't come with me. And I got to go to Hobbiton, so he got to see all the photographs that I took afterwards and got to hear all about it afterwards. And we had plans to go down to New Zealand and take him there so he could go see it. And unfortunately, that was one of those plans that we didn't get to do. But I watched those movies in his honor, on his birthday, on his death date, and sometimes just on a whatever day, if I feel like it, And I watched the director's extended cuts. Not just the movie. It's got to be the longest format that you can find. Like if you watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that's almost 13 hours. It's 12 to 13 hours of viewing with the extended version, with the director's extended versions. They've got extra scenes in them, and they're just really cool. And if I go back and watch the other ones, I go, "Hang on, we're missing a scene. There was with that scene," and then I realize I'm watching the wrong version. So now then I'm going to go switch it over and restart it again. Yes, crazy things that you do. Okay. So that was question 1. What helps you feel most connected to someone you've lost? In what ways do you carry their presence with you today? I'm always talking to Brad, always talking to Zephy. Her bed is still made up on her side of the bed. And every morning when I get up, I reach over and go and say good morning. I automatically reach for her like I have done every night since she started sleeping on the bed with me. And then at night when I go to bed, her bed's made there, and I just go and place my hand where her head would be and wish her good night and all of that sort of stuff too. So she is constantly there at the moment. What part of your grief has softened over time? My reactions to some things have softened over time. there are some things that become very vivid, and other things, when I think of a memory that used to make me cry, may not make me cry, or it may still make me cry, but just takes longer to react. That I don't react as quickly as I used to. So yeah, how might remembering become a source of strength? That's a really good question, especially when it's sort of like when you ask the question like, what would Brad do in this situation? Okay, I've said all of this out there. I've got this idea out there. What would Brad's advice be? Because, he always had good advice. He always had good advice. He actually had very creative and had some ideas. He did not think he was creative. He was. So don't listen to him. If he ever tells you that he's not creative, he lied. That's all I can tell you. And our closing thought for this evening: you're not meant to forget. You're meant to remember in a way that brings strength, not sorrow. And yes, it will change from the sorrow to having strength. This is how we hold on gently, deeply, and always with love. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.